Do not get your hopes up. Do not get your hopes up. It's kind of hard not to after the Sens just played what I think is their most impressive win of the season. This was crazy. um, so I did a watch party for the game tonight, and I am very glad I did. So I do want to thank everybody who came out to the watch party tonight. So again, with games that I do watch parties for, I don't do any notes. So I this was just crazy. So there are two stats that really jump out to me. Number one, Colorado ended with 18 shots on goal, which is a season low for the Avalanche. This is the best team in the NHL. And the Sens played this just insanely sound defensive game. It was impressive. I couldn't believe what I was watching. And the Sens did not take a single minor penalty against Colorado. Like, again, do not get your hopes up too much. But it's hard not to after this game. I'm gonna do my best not to because, you know, they went 5-2 tonight against the top team in the league. Now, yes, I know Colorado has been struggling lately, but tonight and then beating Vegas 7-1, you got to start somewhere, right? And these last two games have been very, very impressive by the Sens, but at the same time, that's what makes this team so frustrating sometimes because this is what they can be. This is what they can do. But Wednesday, January 28th, the 53rd game of the season was played against the Colorado Avalanche. It was a 7:30 p.m. Eastern start time. So this was the second meeting of the season between these two teams. So the Sens got their revenge because last time these two teams met was 3 weeks ago, January 8th in Colorado, and they lost 8-2. So that was not a fun night. I remember I didn't even do like a proper review video for that one because I was so upset. But much better and different feel for this video for sure. So starting goalies were James Reimer for the Sens and Mackenzie Blackwood for the Avalanche. So the Sens were 24, 21, and 7 coming into tonight, and the Avalanche were 35, 6, and 9 coming into tonight, but I think they were like 2, 2, and 2 in their last 6 or something like that. So they have been struggling, but it's still Colorado. They're still a stacked team. They're still number one in the league, and I don't know how. If this is not the most impressive win for the Sens this season, I don't even know what is. Like, this was impressive. Alright, so let's go ahead and dive into the stats here, and there are a couple that stand out, which I did already touch on. So the Sens win by a score of 5-2 at home against the Colorado Avalanche. So Colorado is now 35, 7, and 9. It's just a ridiculous record when you look at it. The Sens are now 25, 21, and 7. So the shots that 23-18. Now I forget what they said. I was watching this game on Sportsnet. The season low before tonight for Colorado for shots in a game, it was 22 or 23. They had 18 tonight. That's very impressive. And the Sens having 23 shots, 23 is not a ton either, but they were finishing on their chances. Now, I know a couple of those were empty netters, but still. Face-off percentage, rare off night here for the Sens. It seems like they've been struggling a bit more in the face-off dot lately, but it didn't hurt them. 62% for Colorado, 38% for the Sens, and this might be the most impressive stat of the night. Colorado's power play was 0 for 0. So, what do you do if your penalty kill is struggling? You don't take penalties. That's gotta be the first time that's happened this season for the Sens, right? Surely. I didn't fact check, but that's nuts. And their power play does go 0 for 3. If you want to find something to nitpick and complain about, it would be this, and it kind of felt like that early on. I'm like, okay, they're not finishing on their power plays here, they're not scoring, and they're gonna pay for it. I'm waiting for the refs to call something against the Sens. but they didn't. And throughout the entire game, I counted one thing that they maybe missed. There was a cross check in the second period. I think they might have called, or they probably should have called, but they didn't. But yeah, that's crazy. No penalty minutes for the Sens. Just it looks ridiculous. 6 penalty minutes for the Avalanche. Hits were 31 to 24 for the Sens. Block shots were 12 to 10 in favor of the Sens. Giveaways, Colorado had 16. The Sens had 13. The Avalanche were pretty sloppy tonight. They were giving the puck away, especially at their own blue line, a lot, and the Sens took advantage. Takeaways were 8 to 3 in favor of the Sens, and this was the final meeting of the season between these two teams. So they will not see each other again until most likely next season. Not going to be the Stanley Cup Finals. Don't worry about that. All right. So again, I don't have any notes because I did a watch party. So if you want to go back through the live stream and watch my entire reaction to the game there, you are more than welcome to. So we'll go through the scoring summary here. So Nick Cousins got the scoring underway with his 7th of the season very early in the second period here. There was no scoring in the first period. Before I get to that goal, I should point out the shots in that first period were 9 to 4 in favor of the Sens. So I'm like, already I'm thinking this is pretty impressive, right? We played a period, yeah, we're still scoreless, but 4 shots allowed against Colorado in a period, that's impressive. So now, going into the second period, Nick Cousins scores his 7th of the season, which came at the 3:21 mark. Zub and Stützle drawing the assists. Now, my initial reaction on this goal was I thought it was maybe offside. There wasn't a review or anything, but I never really got a clear look at it, so I guess it was fine. So the Sens go up 1-0. And then at the 14:05 mark of the second period, former Sen Parker Kelly would score his 11th of the season from Nelson and Middleton. This would tie the game at 1, but I still feel like the Sens they played a pretty solid game the whole night, really. The third period was maybe I don't really enjoy how much they sat back at points in the third period, but still, this is very solid performance overall. So then, this was also impressive. So when Colorado tied the game, 17 seconds later, Ridley Gregg scores his 9th of the season at the 14:22 mark from Clevin and Spence, and the Sens are right back in the lead. That is how you respond to a goal against. And again, just seeing them do this against Colorado, the top team in the league, it's great. But it's also frustrating because we've seen what this team has been doing with the blown leads and everything, but this is what they can do. This is what they can be. So it's like it makes you happy, but you're also frustrated. So that was it for the scoring in the second period. So the shots in the second period, 6 for Ottawa, which is not great, but again, only 4 shots against. So through 2 periods, the shots are 15 to 8 for the Sens. 8 shots for Colorado after 2 periods. That's, again, I know I'm saying this word a lot, but impressive. Because it is. So now we go into the third period, and Giroux would score his 10th of the season at the 2:06 mark from Batherson and Jensen, and this would put the Sens up 3-1. And then, unfortunately, it's like you got the good and the bad for Giroux here. Giroux would actually end up making a pretty bad turnover, and he knows it. He's a veteran. He definitely knows it. He tried to go up the middle, gave it away, and the Avalanche would take advantage. So Nichushkin would score his 12th of the season from Drury at the 3:30 mark. So this would make the game 3-2, but we still have the lead. And I know this will sound negative, but can you blame me as a Sens fan? But it kind of felt like they were going to blow it at this point because, like, they kind of sat back a little bit at points in the third period, but still pretty good overall, though, for the most part. So eventually, Colorado would end up pulling Blackwood, a bit of an early pull. So the Sens are up by 1, and they pull Blackwood with like 3.5 minutes left. So that's kind of surprising to me. But Tkachuk would end up scoring the empty netter at the 17:44 mark from Sanderson, his 13th of the season, and this would make it 4-2. And Colorado does end up pulling Blackwood again, and guess who? Stützle would get the second empty netter, his 24th of the season, at the 18:53 mark from Chabot and Zub, and that would make it 5-2, and that ends up being your final. So just I don't know what's more surprising. Like the fact that Colorado only had 18 shots, or the fact that they didn't take a single minor penalty. Like that's crazy. Like that's unheard of nowadays. So yeah, literally the only thing I can complain about, well, I guess there's two things. I'll get to one of them in a minute. Obviously the going 0 for 3 on the power play, not a big fan of that, but again, if you don't score on your power play, you better make sure your penalty kill is good. But if your penalty kill sucks, again, the best way to get around that is by not taking penalties at all. So just it's crazy. So getting into the 3 stars of the game. First star of the game was Nick Cousins. He had a goal. Second star of the game was Stützle. He had a goal and an assist. And the third star was Giroux, also with a goal. Forgot to mention this as well. The shots in the third period were 10-8 in favor of Colorado. So they did start to come on a little bit there at points in that third, but still, it's just a solid performance for the Sens tonight. So we'll go through the box score for the Sens here. So looking at forwards, Stützle had a goal and an assist as mentioned. Tkachuk and Nick Cousins and Giroux and Greg all with a goal, and Batherson had 1 assist. Plus minus, Bourgault was -1. He was the only forward who was a minus. And then Stützle was +3. We got Giroux and Greg were +2. Tkachuk, Nick Cousins, and Amadio were all +1. And time on ice leader was Pinto actually with 22-19, so a bit of a change up there. Shot leader for forwards was Giroux with 4. And blocks, Amadio had the most with 2. And Nick Cousins and Bourgault led in hits with 3 each. So there are the forward stats. And getting into the defense stats, oh wow. Wow. This is actually really cool. I didn't even notice this till now. This just adds to the fact how impressive it is. Every defenseman had a point tonight. I didn't even notice this till just now. So Zub had 2 assists. Every other defenseman had 1 assist. That's kind of crazy, actually. So Jensen, Spence, Clevin, Chabot, and Sanderson all had 1 assist. Wow. That's crazy. And, okay. So plus minus, Zub was +3, Sanderson was +2, Spence was +1, and everyone else was even. Time on ice leader for defense was Sanderson, of course, with 24-43, and Chabot led in shots with 2. And for blocks, we have Spence, Chabot, and Sanderson with 2 each. And Clevin and Sanderson had 4 hits each, which led the way there. So this would be the other complaint here, minor complaint, kind of. Reimer ends up having kind of a bad save percentage, but not like god-awful. He stopped 16 out of 18 for an .889 save percentage, so it's not good, but it's not like atrocious, you know what I mean? And hey, if your goalie's not performing well, then you better score. And should also add that as well, like Blackwood is, he's not a slouch when it comes to goaltending, so yeah, this was just, I'm gonna keep saying it, this is the most impressive game of the season for the Sens, and I don't even think it's a question. I really don't. Because you got the top team coming into your building after they just beat you 8-2 a few weeks ago. Yes, I know they've been struggling lately, Colorado that is, but still. You beat them by 3 goals. I know 2 of them were empty netters, but just the 18 shots against is what really gets me. And the not taking a single minor penalty, like that's just impressive. But again, it is frustrating because this is what the team can do. So it's like, Why can't they do this every night? um, yeah, that's pretty much it though. Biggest complaint again is the power play going 0 for 3, but it didn't hurt them tonight. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. Again, do want to thank everybody who came out to the watch party tonight. So my whole reaction is in that stream if you want to go check that out. So the Sens will be back at it again on Saturday. So they got the next 2 days off. Kind of a weird stretch here. They're playing one game in a 5-day stretch. So yeah, they'll be back at it again on Saturday against New Jersey to take on the Devils. 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern start time. I will not be doing a watch party for this one, but there will be 3 watch parties in the next, 3 watch parties in 4 nights next week. So do look out for that. That's going to be Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. So that's going to be fun. But yeah, this was just a big win. Try my best not to get my hopes up too much because at the end of the day, it is 2 games. I will take a look at the standings here, and this is nuts. Are you ready to hear this? So, Flyers, Blue Jackets, Maple Leafs, Capitals, and the Sens. 5 teams. What do they all have in common? They all have 57 points. 5 teams. It's just insane. So, yeah, currently they sit 8 points out of a playoff spot. It's a very long hill to climb, but maybe, I mean, you gotta think they got some momentum coming out of these last 2 games, so we'll see what happens. But anyways, I'm going to wrap it up here, guys. Again, they'll be back at it again on Saturday, so do look out for that review video. But yes, I'm going to wrap it up here, guys. Thank you all so much for watching, and go Sens go.